Hello, this is Kylie J.N.S with Nakhti University, and we are doing an impromptu set song on the music department. So I was actually, studying. I was in this period of fascination just recently. I was studying Jahlil Beats, his producer. And particularly, I wanted to know how the making of the song Hot in N-word appeared and came about. And so I was looking to see, I was like, for one, the beat is very fascinating. So with the beat, obviously I don't care for the lyrics. The lyrics are talking about all types of, things. We'll talk about that in a bit. But the main thing that was fascinating to me was the beat. So I said, well, I want to know, how did that beat come about? Who produced it? How did the song get recorded and all that stuff? And so I was really amazed. I found the little clip about Jahlil Beats and how Hot N-word came out. It was originally a beat made for Lloyd Banks in 2012 called Jackpot. So I was just now finding that out. And it wasn't sold exclusively to Lloyd Banks, so it was still in Jahlil Beats' possession. And then at that point, Bobby Shmurda decided to record the lyrics, I guess, on top of the beat for $20 in 1 hour at the studio. So I guess studio time at that time was $20. And so Jahlil Beats, he was showing how he added the choir. He was showing how he added the kick, and then how he put the 808 with the kick. I think he said he overlaid it and then EQ'd it. And then what else did he add? He added the crow sound. He had the brass, which I thought the brass and the bass, believe it or not, is what really pushes that song, and that siren. That brass, that 808, and that siren really takes it to a whole nother level. Wow. And so I was really, with me, I'm doing music and doing beats and stuff behind the scenes, and having to learn things as I go. And so it's been fascinating, though, the idea of sound. Obviously, the idea of sound, and then recording these masters, and then the frequencies that's in sound. But for some reason, Hot N-word was on my mind the whole week. And so I said, well, I'm gonna it's something in the beat. And so they talk about how a lot of these songs have energies attached to them, and but really, I was like, okay, well, let me just listen to it from the sound perspective, then the frequency perspective, and whatnot. And so that's what I did. I said, and then I was able to feel sometimes if you tune in, you can feel the power from the beats. So I said, well, Jahlil Beats, let me listen to another of his beats. And then that's when I found out that he made I'm a Boss. And you could still feel the energy, the power from the beat. And what's unfortunate is, these guys are rapping about unalivening each other, and you got these powerful beats, powerful throat chakras, because Hot N-word was recorded by 12 other people, at least, as far as not Hot N-word, the beat. I'll say this. Let me rephrase this. The beat that was used to record Hot N-word, 12 other people made songs to it as well. He wasn't the only one. But if you listen to the throat chakra in comparison, he is just a better version. So it's an energy thing at that point. It's the energy from your voice, the throat, plus the energy from sound that Jahlil Beats puts together from an engineering perspective. That takes a lot of skill. I was watching and I said, you know what, that's dope. Putting that kick in it. Because I'm doing that stuff too. I'm not using AI to make my beats. These are not automated beats. And, I'm not saying I'm an instrumentalist. I am going to learn to get an instrument and play an instrument, because I do want to do even some live, even for my upcoming project I'm working on. But like having to, pay attention to all of that, it's a lot. It is very, 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 very overwhelming, I would say, and even intimidating, but in an exhilarating way, because you get to learn something. It's something you don't know, and it's something that you can learn. And it's something that you're most likely naturally good at. And so that makes up for it. And it's therapeutic to play around with these sounds effects and all this stuff. So seeing, I said, wow, so that's how he put it together. And he used that, they call it FL Studios now, but there was a software called Fruity Loops, or production gear called Fruity Loops. And so that was interesting to learn about too. But what's fascinating is like to me, is again like the energy behind a song that comes from people's epigenetics and what they know that gets passed down, because Jahlil's Beats' father was an engineer, and Bobby Shmurda, he's talking from his chakra. And and I said, well, I want to know what kind of spirits is attached to this song. And I was able to get down to the bottom of it. I'm not going to really talk about that all online, because they have like this rumor where they say, people, they go and they use like sigils or whatever to put these spirits on some of these songs. And I do think it's not even a rumor. I do think there's some truth to it, but sometimes it's the spirits that's just attached to your voice. Sometimes it's not a matter of, you go and you don't put magic or put sigils or put spirit. Sometimes it's not that, guys. Sometimes it's just the fact that someone's voice and throat chakra carries energy, can carry a certain amount of energy that can really alter. You can feel it. And so that's one of the songs that's attached to, both for good and bad. Because unfortunately, and what I was saying to myself earlier, I'm like, they are rapping about unaliving each other. But could you imagine if they directed that energy to a source or a force where it needed to go? For instance, sorry, I'm doing some like chores. I'm recording this. I'm doing some more chores. Imagine like if they, instead of just talking about how they killing each other and how they want to do each other off, imagine if they just use that energy in them songs to direct it towards the people that's oppressing them, the government, forces that's oppressing them, And so that's how you have to realize how fast they'll come in when they see someone. They'll recognize, okay, this is a powerful beat, powerful throat chakra. They talking about they're talking about like this war energy. It's a lot of war energy in this song, but they're directed towards each other. But could you imagine if they would have directed it towards a force that needed to be directed towards corruption, corrupt government, talking about the things in their community that frustrates them, that they want to see improved, and who's behind it and who's keeping them down. Now you see why rap was infiltrated so easily and turned on themselves. Now, again, that's not to absolve the rappers themselves, but I'm just saying, when you listen to a power in a throat chakra in a simple beat, well, a complex beat, but a good beat, and you see that it could amass 1 billion views, and go viral on Vine for these little dance, this dance moves, that lets you know that somebody's going to want to be in control of that energy. Somebody's going to want to be able to direct it. Somebody's going to want to be able to exploit it. Somebody's going to want to be able to take it from you. That's just how they move. And so then now you saw the situation with Epic Records, and how they ultimately ended up in owning the masters and the publishing to Hot N-Word. But guess what? Bobby and GS9 and Jahlil Beats originally owned the masters and the masters and the publishing. So Epic come in, and then all of a sudden they end up with the masters, or they end up owning the masters, and Bobby goes to jail for 8 years. Him and his whole crew, they go to jail for 8 years. Someone is sitting up there eating all that money off of that. You see what I'm saying? And so like we have to really prepare these youth for understanding certain things about themselves and the value within themselves, so that they don't sell themselves short. It's happened to us all. We've all had gotten situations where we felt played or gotten taken advantage of due to a lack of knowledge, you know? And so that's really all it is. And the people perish because of a lack of knowledge. Now, this is not like a preachy video or anything, but we want to, like, when it comes to like the youth, when they got something on their hands like that, and it's fire, it's potent, it's they own it for, most importantly, and they already got buzz on their own, and they're already making money on their own from it. You want to encourage them to keep being in the forefront of that thing, but also, and most importantly, for women with young kids or men with young kids, when you see, if you have a kid that has like some sort of gift, you know, and you see them being able to pop off energy, they got a lot of energy, and they're going into music, and you see they may get a little buzz with something, you definitely want to make sure that the business is correct, and also that they're not putting something out that can be used against them. I'll just give you an example. Like Bobby Shmurda said all these people's names in his song, right? He said all these people, his friends' names. So-and-so caught a body about a week ago. And I was thinking in my head, like, yo, if I knew my son, I don't have no kids. Thank God I don't have no kids. But if I had a child and they came to me and said, yo, we just recorded, you know, this song is getting a little buzz on YouTube. And I would have said, well, show me what you know. And I've been active, you know, like I found out about Hot N-Word from a kid. Like we used to play Kids Club. And Kids Club was like, I was the DJ. He played a song, then I play a song. And so obviously I'm playing stuff from the 90s. I'm going to play what he said was dated. Oh, that's wag. Oh, that's so. I used to play DMX, you know, I think I was playing DMX. Oh, that's so wag. You know, and he'll play with his thing, you know, but the youth like, you know, that's why I found out about XXXTentacion and Pop Smoke and, you know, I don't know what this stuff is. I'm learning this stuff from them, the youth. And he's still a teenager, but we used to have Kids Club when he was like 9, 10 years old. And the Kids Club was we go and drink some kombucha and play the music real loud and dance. And so I found out about Hot N-Word from a kid, you know. And so I'm thinking to myself, if I had, you know, like in a situation where, like, say that was the kid I was helped raising. What if he came to me and said, oh, I got a song and it's getting a little buzz on YouTube. And for one, I would have like, I want to hear it. I want to see it. I'm not just going to let my kid get on a fucking internet. Like, I want to hear it. I actually want to see it. And then I would have heard all these names that he's given out. First thing I would have asked him, like, when did you become an informant? Because you're telling on all your fucking friends and you're going to get a fucking RICO case. That's the first thing I would have said. I would have been joking, but I would like, first off, take out all them damn names out that damn song. You damn fool. You got a lot of buzz. The beat is fire. The energy is fire. And stop talking about how you're going to unalive everybody. I mean, why you ain't talking about how you going to unalive? How you ain't, why you, I'm like, are you kidding me? All of this energy, right? that's in these songs that's powered. You know, they talking about unaliving and bullet holes flying in it. All this war energy. It's a lot of war energy. It's a lot of Saturnian energy. It's a lot of like I will go there. It's a lot of the 33 rebellion raiders energy. And it's like, y'all don't think to direct that towards your government, or you don't think to direct that towards the people really oppressing you. Why y'all talking about doing it to each other? That would have been my thing. But second, I would have said, look, this is fire, right? Have you ever, everybody know that when you do research projects, you got to use pseudonyms. Now, I would have been like, dude, you're going to go back and record this song and you're going to use pseudonyms. Why the fuck did you got all their names in your song, your childhood friends' names in your song? Did you sign up to be an informant and I didn't know? Because you're gonna get a case on you. That's what I would have told my child. Like, are you doing this on purpose, or what? Why you got their whole full ass? You know, so and so caught a body about a week ago. Who got killed on this day and during this time? You know, like what? And so I was just listening to. I'm like, yo. For one, I would have been like, nigga, we getting this copyrighted. For one, we gotta get it. We gotta fix the lyrics. We gotta get it copyrighted. We need to reach out to Jahlil Beats. Will he sell this beat to us exclusively? That's my first thought. When I said, oh Lord. Oh, I said, no wonder why they don't fuck with me, because they're like, we ain't gonna be able to make no money. She gonna be right there with her hand. We need to get this beat exclusively from Jahlil. Let's see what's price he talking, or can we get some publishing rights? But they had owned the masters, you know, GS9, and so you know, I'd have been like, we getting this shit copyrighted. We need to talk at least the lyrics. We need to talk if we can get something exclusive with Jahlil Beats. But the first thing I would have said is, use pseudonyms, change dates. Instead of saying a week ago, I would have been like, put 6 weeks ago. And not only that, they want to call themselves doing investigations and see it through the music, right? I'm telling you, my motherfucking kid, you ain't putting all them targets on them niggas in our community. Go and have them run. You better be using, I'm telling you, the names would have said, Garcia caught a body about a week ago. Lorenzo caught a body about a week ago. Why are you putting targets on your own community, fool? I'd have like, just use pseudonyms. We would have been using Chung Lee caught a body 6 weeks ago. It would have been a bunch of whole nother ethnicities, whole nother pseudonyms. And that's not to, that's not me dinging other ethnicities or anything, or coming at other ethnicities. I'm just saying it's pseudonyms. It's not real. It's just a song. But ain't no way in the world you would have just had your real ass fucking friends' names in the song. Like, what the fuck? I was really listening to that like, yo, this crazy. I would have been like, man, I was thinking in my head, this nigga lucky he wasn't my child, because for one, you better go back and put what's one of them little Russian Poland names? Vlad caught up on him 6 weeks ago. I would have threw that shit over you right back on him. I'm like, you see this name right here? We would have went through the lyrics together. Come sit next to, and that's why I was saying about me and the kid that I helped raise, man, he used to be sometimes like, here she go, we about to go to a stream of consciousness. Oh gosh. But you see this lyric, change that name to Vlad. Change this name to Lorenzo. Change that name to Chung Lee. Change this name to Kente. What's the African name? What's what a Mamadou? Mamadou is a good African name. Change that name to Mamadou. Put Mamadou in there. Mamadou. Mama do go gung on him, go dumb on him. Mama do gun. Who Mama do? They ain't even a real person. Them feds would have been on a wild ass goose chase fucking with me, fucking with a GIA military scientist. They would have been on a wild damn goose chase. Who's Chung-Li? That's an Asian name, so we gotta look for an Asian in the midst. Is an Asian around there? No, where he at? Dang. They said Lorenzo Garcia. Oh, that's Latino. We got to look. Any Latinos? That's a light skin. Is he Latino or is he black? Because, you know, some of the blacks is light skin. Latino. I'm just saying, they was already studying the song for Rico. We studying. So I'm just saying, as a parent, and I would have saw some shit like that, I would snatch his ass up. So change these motherfucking names. Don't even use Black American names. Just use all different types of names. Use a Russian name. Use a Polish name. Poland, is that the Russian mafia? What kind of, is that the mafia? Yeah, Vlad Mafia. They would have been all over the place. They wouldn't have been able to, they wouldn't have had nothing. Nothing, I tell you. Then we got the copyright. We got the motherfucking copyright. Now we gonna be registering our shit. We're to get these royalties. You're gonna do these little clubs. He was making $40,000 a month in them little clubs off that little song. Black folks was telling him not to sign to Epic. They told him, don't sign. He didn't listen. Then he said it felt like a prison. He said it felt like a prison. He said, you know, even when you look up, it said they finally released me. They released me from my, you know, I got my freedom. It was a prison. Notice when he put that tweet up complaining about them people, what happened? What happened? Jail. The tweets got deleted. To jail you go. And he would have been able to really get some buzz upon coming out because a lot of the youth really liked that song. The youth really was feeling that. But they had already orchestrated to dim his light. They already had orchestrated to dim, you know, like a powerful comeback from when he first went in. Anytime they get you at like the height of your career like that, you should already know. And then you just signed something and you're not getting what they recruiting. I think he had signed for $2 million, but it was really just probably in advance, you know, and so they probably wasn't recruiting based on like these tour buses and the studio time or videos and whatever else they were recording. So, but yeah, I thought that was crazy listening to them lyrics. I'm like, dude, you just telling on everybody. And I don't know if that was by design. I'm thinking like, is this a psyop? Like, what kind of shit is you on? That's honestly, you know, I was thinking that a little bit. I'm not gonna hold you, but nonetheless, like if I would say when you know you got something like that on your hands and it's getting buzz like that, first things first is protect it as much as you can, you know, and that's where the parenting comes in. You know, sometimes you got to just know what your kid is doing and what they saying on them little records. And for me, ain't no way in the world. For one, like, knowing the way that the kid that I helped raise, the way how we were close, he probably would have been like, we go into the studio. You want to come to the studio and sit and watch us do our thing? And that's probably that's how I was with the kid that I helped raise. And I'm not just making that up. Like he would call me from school, you know, and be like, yo, here, look at my friends, look at my, you know, like introducing me to his whole, like, okay, what the hell is you doing calling me in school? Ain't your motherfucking ass supposed to be learning? How did you make it a phone call from school at such a young age? For one, you wouldn't even have no phone if you was my kid. Well, this was a family member, but you know, I'm not the mom. I'm only the godmom, so I'm like, you ain't, for one, you wouldn't even have no motherfucking cell phone. Then he called. One time they get into friends starting to fight. And they fighting. Not him, but the other kids were fighting. He calls me. And I got scared. I'm not going to hold you. I didn't handle it right. I did panic because I'm thinking like somebody could call the police, anything. And I did kind of overreact when I told his parents. And he got in trouble for that. One, because it's like, okay, that is an adult. Why are you calling it an adult to show them, look at these kids fighting? You know, like, I'm not that type. Granted, it's like, so that's when you have to not always be their friend. Because me and that kid, we shared a room together. And so it was always playtime. Everything is like, you have to be able to be the disciplinarian, but then you don't want them to hide anything from you either. And so that's just like, okay, you're not hiding nothing. Like, you don't think, like, there's no bound, like, I'm a whole ass adult, grown as hell, and you so comfortable enough that you gonna call me, look at showing me the recording of the kids fighting. And I said, leave the perimeter immediately. Because if somebody pull up or somebody come and you in the wrong place, wrong time, anything could happen. You know, so I got really upset about that. I'm like, it's not that I'm not upset that you called me, but it's like, use your discernment where you in a position where anybody could pull out a gun, a knife, anything. You caught up in the wrong thing, wrong place, wrong time situation. You know, so that really upset me. So I told his parents, and he got a lot of trouble, and he never called. I noticed that he must have, felt some type of way. Because he never ever caught me with that type of stuff again. And he never really told me, like, he would tell me all his business, like, but, I guess he felt like, well, you would go and tell. And I remember another adult was like, he ain't going to trust you as much as he used to because you told on him. And I was like, look, I'm an adult. Like, I can't, you can't just get away with anything. I don't regret it, but, I just know that perhaps that boundary needed to be established anyways, Boundaries between adults and children need to be established. So, it is what it is. But, yeah, when you making beats like that, you have kids doing music like that, you got to check them lyrics. You got to check what they saying. And then also, or more importantly, possibly, if it's really getting a buzz, you want to check making sure that they have full ownership over it. The publishing, everything is worked out. The masters is worked out between them and the producers and whoever else is on it. That is fair business, that is written out something, you got some evidence of it. The copyright is good. All of that, And so, unfortunately, that wasn't the case with Bobby Shmurda. But I'm telling you, the first thing I would have said, look, as me being, knowing that, like, you hear something like that where they talking about, this person caught a body, this person. You already know you're talking too much in your songs. That's going to be a RICO. If you want to keep it for energy purposes, why you're not directing that towards the government or oppressive force? 2, if you do want to keep it just as is for whatever reason, because you feel, that's what's in or that's what's trendy, which I don't agree with, but sometimes the youth are not going to listen to you. Why the fuck you not using pseudonyms? Changing dates, changing names, and changing time frames. You don't say a week ago. You say 3 weeks ago, 12 weeks ago. There wasn't even nobody around that time that got murked 12 weeks ago. Oh, you just making up shit. Damn, they giving us Vlad. That ain't no Black American name. What? Garcia. That ain't no... that ain't no... What is he talking? We looking at his crew. We trying to... That's not the name of his crew. We got their names. We trying to put a case together. Damn, we ain't got nothing. what kind of this kid up here just saying anything? He got millions and millions of views on a song just making up shit. Exactly. That's the whole point. And so that's just would have been my get down. That's just me. That would have been my get down. Ain't no way in the world I let my kid out there. But that's what we saying going forward. These are the things we need to know. And I know people be like, oh, that's so preachy. Oh, we can do whatever we want. It's this real rebellious, ignorant spirit. But we can do whatever we want. And we can, and time again, history shows you can't. History shows you that we've been doing something wrong. If you see the saying, somebody had a really good saying that if you see people eating the turkey and they all get sick from eating the turkey, why would you want the same turkey? Why wouldn't you just eat something different? And that's kind of like what the music industry is. People getting sick in the music industry. You keep seeing people, why would you want to get into it when you want to do something different? But that has nothing to do with not doing music. And that's just something that we have to understand. And I was interested and most fascinating recently by Phyllis Hyman's documentary, when she was saying, people was asking her, oh, how do I get in? How do I do this? And she was like, find something else to do. She said, even if I tell you everything, it's still not even going to deter these young people. Even if you tell them everything about what it is and what can happen, it still doesn't deter them. And so people have to consider the words of people who have been there and done that. And so I was learning a lot from that interview. But what was interesting is when she said that, and she said, but it could teach you a lot. You will learn a lot about yourself as far as facing your shadow and your demons, or letting them consume you rather. And how people move, how real life can be, and Phyllis Hyman didn't have the best time in the industry. But what was interesting and what we learned from her is what kept her comfort and what kept her happy was the fact that she had control. And before her the label, I forgot the name of the label, before the label was sold to Arista, she was on a label where she had a lot of creative control in terms of the production of her music. And once she lost that is when you kind of could see the unraveling. And so she didn't want a handler. She didn't want control. So unfortunately, it kind of limit. It's not that she didn't have star power. Everybody knows that she has star power. That's just undeniable. Everybody knows she's a huge star, beautiful 6-foot woman. What's interesting is she said, I didn't want to be in the industry. I never wanted to be a singer. She said, all I wanted to do was be a rich, successful black woman that was childless black. There's the emphasis on childless. She wanted that. She said that was my dream. Was just to be a rich black woman that's childless. That was it. But she ended up in the industry, and we know that she ended up and quite a bit of debt from the labels and all these things. You know how they do. But I learned a lot from her story. Her story was really powerful. And then, they had, obviously when she wouldn't play ball and be under the control of Clive Davis, they brought in other artists to, compete or to eclipse, what you're doing. And then unfortunately they can stifle what you're doing, whether that mean putting out an artist that is in your image, that copies you, that try to look like you, that try to talk and act like you, or getting even a bigger star. Someone in their own right is a star by all means, which obviously was Whitney Houston at that time. Now here, Whitney Houston, you see a situation where Whitney Houston did not mind taking the instruction and directions from the industry at all. We know that. Whereas Phyllis Hyman couldn't do it. She did not take well to it as far as handlers and instruction and like a puppet kind of. I'm not calling Whitney a puppet. I'm just saying that's just if you don't. There's a certain modicum of behavior that you have to have in order for them people to rock with you. And she, was like, okay, well, hey, tell me to show up here, tell you wear this, wear that, sing this, sing that, sing it this way, sing that, say this, say. But look at how both of them, Phyllis Hyman and Whitney Houston, look at the outcome. Was it not the same outcome? And I'm not judging these women. These are really talented powerhouses. I actually learned from their story as women. And I think that they're beautiful in unfortunate circumstances when it comes to the industry. So don't think that I'm judging them. Both did unfortunate, got on the drugs, both of them. And passed in funny circumstances, both of them. But Whitney is the quote-unquote bigger star. They both had the same level of star power. It's just like distribution and the push, the engine, the machine. The machine went with Whitney over Phyllis. But at the end, where did it get them? Dead. Drugs, complications from the industry. So you have to think about that as far as even upcoming artists. Are you the type of artist that wants full-blown creative control, ownership over everything? You don't want to, you want to make your own beats. You want to do all this. You have to, and you don't want a handler. You have to consider your personality type. Are you going to you don't like to do what people say. You like to do, like how Phyllis Hyman, she didn't like to do what people tell her to do. She wanted to do it her own way. And the fact that you go into an industry that's based on high control systems, high levels of control, ownership, and you don't want to comply. You don't want to follow, you don't want to do your own thing. That can have disastrous effects as well. But also doing it the other way, just giving someone complete control, letting them dictate everything about you, that could also be just as disastrous as well. Okay? So it's an industry thing. It's not an artist thing. That's what you should take from that, for one. Two, you have to consider the alternatives, the parallels of what could be now that we know and can look on history and see what was. And now that we can know where we're going forward, especially like with people that have talent and people that want to do the things their own way, they can have the knowledge. Now it's going to be hard. They're already changing the things as far as what qualifies to get on Billboard. I think they cut off YouTube views for that. Raising copyright fees. Because I do everything. And I said they just raised the fees literally as soon as I started copyrighting my music. Literally. They raised the fees like literally that same, as far as wanting to make it, they want to increase it by 40%. Because, yeah, you could do 10 songs at one time and just pay the fee. But you also got to figure people release songs on an album as they coming out. Sometimes you finishing up an album. So it's like now you got to pay each a couple of songs or whatever to get a copyright or per song. You may not have time to wait all the way to the end of all 10 songs recorded or all whatever is recorded at the end and then just get them all copyrighted at the same time just to save money. And if you're not rolling in bank, that can be hard to do releases. It can hold your release, but you got to do what you got to do. And if it's something that you care about as far as your ownership, you'll do it at the end of the day. But it does slow you down as far as music production. But you see how they'll do. You see how jealous and how grimy they'll be to independent artists just because they see through their system. Like how they can just like deny your accounts for certain things. Luckily, they can't really do that with distribution, but they could do that on the back end with things like, say, if you want to collect your royalties from certain things. Now, there's always more than one way to skin a cat. So, and I'm not worried about it. But I see little stuff, But I guess also I have to take accountability because they're probably like, well, you don't have music out yet. you know, we talking about like probably have to just build up a stronger catalog first. So I get that too. And that's also taken into account. But with these young kids, make sure if you're doing that rap, don't be sitting there, oh, we gonna do this to each other, gonna unalive, bullets flying everywhere. His body twirled and then fell on the ground. And I mean, why are you guys talking about like that? Like, you niggas are like 17, 16. Like, what kind of... And then if anybody says anything about it, oh, you're degrading our culture. Oh, you're shaming the victim. Oh, you're about respectability politics. Oh, you're not down for the struggle. Oh, you think you're a bougie nigga. Oh, you... Like, no. It's like, this is just common sense. We listen to... people from back in the day. I was just listening to a track with Miles Davis and Charles Mingus. Charles Mingus produced it. I was listening to Pharoah Sanders. He has a song called Creator Has a Master Plan, and another song called Healing, and another song called Unity, and then another song called The Lord Has His Way, or something like that. But it's like, you listen to them type of high frequency songs from back in the day. Like, you're not going to tell me that I'm wrong for calling out, what we're hearing today. You're not going to sit up there and shame me like how y'all did Dolores C. Tucker when she told y'all to stop doing all that gangster rap back then. Oh, this black bitch trying to control us. Oh, here she go. We taking her to court. They didn't go to court they didn't even go to court for reparations, but they took that black woman to court to fight for the right to call them bitches and hoes in music. Sure did. And we got the records of it. They had no problem dragging that black woman ass to court. They had the right to call them bitches and hoes, but they ain't even think to take their ass to court about some housing, about some reparation. You see what we're saying? And then they get mad. They get real upset when a nigga like me come along and start calling it out. Them days are done. Them days are done. Where you get to hide your little brotherhood activities in the midst of the black community and not tell them that you're selling them out. And you got us looking crazy on a fucking treadmill, hamster wheel. Oh, they killed so-and-so. Oh, they got little Rodney. Oh, they got y'all in the background making money of it, telling us to donate to y'all, grifting us. And our community ain't getting nowhere. Ain't nobody standing up. Ain't nobody. And if we got blueprints, and then these niggas want to sit and go and backdate or go and plagiarize and trusted melanism and try to say that it's Pan-Africanism. And trusted melanism, there is not one doctrine under Pan-Africanism that can even mirror or mimic entrusted melanism. We talking about published documents. There's not one. There's not one published document. Booker T. Washington was not a Pan-African. Marcus Garvey was not a Pan-African. He was a Garveyite. He came up with his own ideology. You can't go and then backdate and then tell someone, hey, Garveyite is Pan-Africanism. It's not. He never said that. He didn't give a fuck about that. He might have idolized. A Back to Africa movement is not the same as Pan-Africanism. And that's not the same as someone saying this particular ideology goes under this framework. If he didn't say that out of his mouth, then other people can't come along and say, hey, this is actually, like, no, that's not how that works. When I said I gave out entrusted melanism, that is a published work. It's not plagiarized. It came up my fucking head. Actually, they got rid of my Twitter, but if you see some of the book, some of the ideas from the book was raw as hell just on Twitter. I was saying, well, you guys are arguing about delineation and then the Pan-African, the diaspora war. Why didn't you guys find a way to bridge it to where there's no arguing? Because that was my thing. I didn't feel like we should be fighting long term. I understand you check the disrespect and all that, but I just didn't. To me, I always felt like, well, we need raw materials and we can do business and all this stuff. What's the framework for preserving a lineage or a language or a culture while also being able to build bridges? So it pretty much emerges. It's a new take on coalition framework, but on a much more macro level that is reiterative. based on just, it's a template. So that means you have to put in the strategy, the goals, and the interests inside of the template. That is entrusted melanism. I just want to make that very clear. Anyone comes and tells you that is now, they have to change it. They read my work. The government called me about that work. They knew it was a military science book that I did naturally just from my soul. Being in the order of Melchizedek as a spiritual priesthood and a military priesthood that's been in my bloodline for 1,200 years. So I didn't know. It's just me going off the dome, You know, you're going to express what's in your fucking soul. You're going to express whatever you came here to do, even if you don't know what you're doing. So they knew and said, oh, hell no, this girl done going too far. She talking about, we want these niggas arguing. We want Black Americans, Caribbean, African, all that odds fighting. She see the fighting. She understands the fighting. She understands where Black Americans are coming from, talking about, okay, look, we've been fighting for everybody. Y'all been cosplaying us, been undermining us. Y'all been doing all this, I get it. So it's like, well, how do you nip that in the bud? Check that. People have been grifting and people have been doing Black Americans dirty. It's just a fact. Doing us dead ass dirty. From all walks of life, but also you have to teach people how to treat you. People got to know what they can get away from. You got to know yourself, know thyself. You got to constantly evolve and treat your elders in a certain way and demand things of your elders too. If your elder expect you to treat them with respect and expect you, and your scholars expect you to roll out the red carpet for them, what the fuck they doing for you? That's what you have to ask yourself as the youth. Are they going to have our back? Are they going to stick up for us when don't nobody else want to stick up for us? Are they going to carve out things that make sense? You know? That's what you gotta anticipate. Are they gonna have our fucking back? Are they gonna carve out stuff that makes sense for us? And that's really what it's about. That's what it's about. Caught this bug in my house. Goodness gracious. Guess I'll just step on it. Ugh, gross. Ugh. So disgusting. Oh, I got him good, but god damn. It got his guts everywhere and everything. Gross. And on my fucking shoe. But, I gotta sterilize my damn shoe. Gross. It happens. It's hot. It's this heat wave. These motherfuckers trying to get out the shade. They trying to get out the sun. It's hot. What the fuck they got to do with me? They better get their ass on. But I'll tell you this. I lost my train of thought because I got so distracted with that. Yeah, these youth. Yeah, I remember what I was saying. Yeah, this because, you have to ask yourself, what are they doing for us? As far as if the elder expects to be respected. But sometimes somebody could be looking out for you. You may not like their delivery. You may not like who it is. You may not like, it's the big bad black women. It's the big bad black women. I know they got a bug in their ass about some black women. And so they, sometimes though, a motherfucker could be giving you some game, and you gotta learn the hard way. You be hard headed, You don't listen, and now you're out there looking crazy. Imagine if people would have listened to Dolores C. Tucker. Imagine if people would have listened. They ain't want to listen. So that's what happens. You don't want to listen and be hard-headed. To come back all these years later, and then you complaining about, oh, they doing it. Look at our music. Oh, look at this sound. Oh, this sound crazy. When. We told you not to do that. We told you not to sign that. We told you not to. When. I guess so. Now it's when. Nonetheless, it's about turning things around and about learning from things, all of us, and making sure future generations have an actual shot. And as long as we do that, the things can work itself out. More planning and a lot more structure. If you ain't trying to harm nobody or do no bullshit in your community, you shouldn't have a problem with structure. If you're not trying to do nothing that is detrimental or trying to do something at the expense of someone else, why would you mind structure? Unless you're doing something you ain't got no business doing. Why would you mind organizing? Unless you're doing something you ain't got no business doing. And I think that's common sense. Nonetheless, I'm about to get on up off of here. I think I said what I wanted to say. I was just really fascinated with with that beat process. I said, well, I want to know, how does a song like that get created? And it was way more simpler than what I thought, I have to say. It was way more simpler than what I thought it was going to be. Yep. Fascinating, though. Okay, let me get up off of here. Y'all be easy. Bye.